Hello and welcome to the Sports Doin with me, Kushagra, and we have a complete set of six here for the Premier League preview this weekend. And there is no other place other than Hospital Anfield to start. Sushil, how's the coronavirus situation looking at Anfield? And before this massive game, you guys are playing your former manager, of course, and the league leaders in Leicester. How are you looking at this match? Because they have a perfect record. I think we spoke about this last week.
Man, I'm pretty sure we won't need a vaccine in a couple of months for anyone in the squad. I think they're all going to be immune soon. And if they're not immune, they'll be enjoying the new medical facilities at Kirkby, the new training facilities
Yeah.
there. Um, man, we entered the international break and I was bitching about the exact thing that ended up happening, which is more of our players got injured or became COVID positive. So, worst case scenario played out, but I think it was kind of expected. There was no other way, apart from the Salah thing, which was, that was just stupid. Apart from that, all of the other injuries, I think we had sort of predicted that there's a good chance they'll happen just because of the workload. That being said, I think we should have enough players for, 11 on the pitch this weekend.
Yeah.
We still have
Just a question. I read something about Nat Phillips not being particularly fit.
I
Or
didn't see that. Though, there's so many injury reports that come up these days. I may have just missed it. But yeah, I
if
mean, it's
someone could check that
possible.
for me while Sushil's check that.
Yeah, just and I'm pretty sure Klopp's instructions to Allison are just going to be do next week, 2 weeks are probably going to be your hardest. So do whatever you can, and he's going to tell Sadio, Firmino, and Diogo Jota to just try and outscore the opponent. I think that's all you can do in the
And
current
also not
situation.
attend
Sorry?
not attending weddings at the same time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a one-time mistake. I don't think anyone's going to try to cross Klopp on that again. My concern, though, given what's happened with the defense in the midfield, is ball progression. I think that'll be really challenging, and Leicester are a team that can be really hard to sort of bypass on the football pitch. So whether I'm completely confident that Jota, the front three that's there, that they can win us that game, maybe have a scoring game. But my concern is the ball needs to be able to get to them, and I don't know how that's going to happen when your fullbacks are sort of Trent's out for sure, Robertson we'll see, and then your midfield's also Henderson's out, Fabinho's out, Thiago is. Wijnaldum had an excellent international break, but I was sort of expecting him to get injured in the last game too. But yeah, we do have enough players to sort of make that happen, but we'll have to see. It'll have to be driven by the midfield rather than the fullbacks.
All right. Vijay, Sushil's takes are quite interesting here, aren't they? Are we gonna see? Are we gonna see a kind of a Liverpool that just goes out to outscore the opposition? I think we saw this in Klopp's second and third season, right?
Yeah.
The,
It's
my,
like
my my question to you, Vijay, is sorry to
no,
not
go
miss
for
out
it.
on the first go. Question to you is: Sushil talks about the midfield. Who's going to get the ball to the strikers? Because these guys can't carry the ball 80 yards and then score.
I think last time we spoke to Sushil, he said that like I asked them with their defense, technically a new defense now, does it like how are they going to play? Are they going to play differently? And that's what he said. They're now having a low block, and Liverpool with a low block are well. That's not the Liverpool that won the league and the Champions League. So can they do that? And who are they playing? They're playing Leicester, who are I don't know. I
Love the
think the
low block.
name, yeah, and I think they call the Foxes, right? They have been playing like them, playing extremely cleverly. And I think Brendan Rodgers knows the club, knows how to play these kinds of games. And I'd love to see a Brendan Rodgers outwit a Klopp as well, so that I can bring up the
Tactics.
Bielsa outwitting thing, and just so that it hurts Sushil a little bit more.
So, so I'll come to you, Vishwaraj. Vishwaraj, just for context,
Yeah.
Sushil was pretty underconfident in Rogers' tactical skills against Marcelo Bielsa, and we all know what happened between Leeds and Leicester. So that's a running joke here. So
Right.
that's the hope here from Vijay as well. And let me introduce you first to the channel. guys, Vishwaraj is making his debut here on the channel, and he's a Chelsea fan and also a fellow ISM student, as me and Pratmesh are. So a very warm welcome to you, Vishwaraj.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And just we'll get right into it. Your thoughts on this match? Who do you see? Who do you see having the edge here?
Well, frankly speaking, I need to know the playing 11s for this, because one of the reasons that Sushil mentioned was the ball progression, and one of the major reasons why Liverpool were good in ball progression last year was not only the fullbacks but the diagonal balls that they play by the centre backs. Yeah. And the diagonal plays, they have the players to receive, but they do not have the players to send them anymore. So who plays? I think recently Reece Williams is also out injured, so the centre back options are really, really low. So we need to see who plays a centre back, and can we even consider that Klopp might ditch a back four, to adjust for his fullbacks or something like that, to play Tsimikas as wing back or something like that. So we need to see what formation and what play he's doing, because it's a heavily injured squad, and if he does find the back four, he'll have to adjust for the midfield as well. So we need to see the back fours, and Leicester as always is a very high pressing team, and they can harass Liverpool really well.
Yeah, and in terms of harassment, Sulaksh, when you talk about Vardy, and you guys were recently harassed by him. So you think
it's ironic, right? You go to an Arsenal fan talking about harassment, considering what happened on the
bro. That was the cue. I mean, Vishwaraj just handed that to me on a plate. So
a Chelsea fan handed a plate over about an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. So yeah, coming back to the Leicester Threats, I think we need to talk about them a little as well. These guys, Maddison hasn't really played that much, and Barnes and Vardy and also the collective have been so impressive.
I think they've not really missed James Maddison as much as people thought he would be missed in Leicester's center, because they have a lot of creative players there, and they've not found it difficult to just play with this style of sitting back and basically waiting for the first 45 minutes and gauging the game out, and then the last 45 just giving that push, identifying the weaknesses. That's what they did against Arsenal. And see, like you mentioned, Vardy came on, he took 30 minutes, he got the winning goal. So I think for Leicester, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Keep doing what you're doing. They've had good results against Arsenal. City had a couple of slip-ups at the start of the season, but I think now they're realizing that they can't be doing what they did at the end of last season by just being promising. They have to now start capitalizing on this position. For Liverpool, it's going to be interesting. One thing I wanted to mention to Sushil, I read that Liverpool are looking at options like Socrates and people to come in and fill that defensive role. So I think Mustafi is also available. If you want, I'm sure they'll find people to drive him over to
Phil Jones. Liverpool. Phil Jones, don't forget Phil Jones.
You've got a lot of deadwood if you want that stopgap. So I think most eyes would be on, like Vishwaraj pointed out, it's going to be on the starting 11, and whether Klopp actually changes his system to a back three or stays with the back four, who's going to be supplying, how the midfield roles are going to change. So that's something we'll have to wait and see.
All right, Pratmesh, coming back to this match, I think we've spoken enough about the squads here. I just want to ask you, what do you think Klopp is thinking at this moment? Does he think that कि घर में कुछ ऐसे यज्ञ कराना पड़ेगा, कुछ ऐसा हवन रखना पड़ेगा, कुछ करना पड़ेगा? Something he has to do. Like someone has jinxed him, and I remember that letter that was sent to him by the United fan.
That prick, man, that kid.
Since then, this is some weird juju over Liverpool.
Yeah. Oh my God. I read letter that they got thrashed at the Etihad. And then, things just started going south. Although they won the title, like, pretty convincingly at the end. But then, since then, things have gone wrong. They traveled to Villa Park, got battered there as well. So, and Leicester have battered Man City. So, you never know what's coming up. But
I think you need Grobbelaar to either pee at the goalpost again, or maybe maybe go number 2 this time. I don't know.
I think all that Klopp is thinking is, how do I stop Dennis Praet? How do I stop Jamie Vardy? How do I stop Harvey Barnes? How do I stop Luke Thomas, who's actually played really well? I think he had a good game against United. That's when the first time I saw him last season towards the end. And also, I think Castagne is still injured, so they are still playing with James Justin. How to stop James Justin?
Even for that matter, Tielemans.
Yeah, Tielemans and Mendy have also played well. There is a fit Mendy in the Premier League, and he's doing really, really well. Yeah. So that's something that I think that is all he'll be worried about. But Klopp still, Klopp always talks about women and stuff like that as well. So you never know what he's going through. Definitely, the new training ground they hoped would have brought something new. कुछ तो किया होगा home haven, some kind of thing which they might do in their cultures, in their Liverpudlian cultures. But yeah, that too. Yeah, that too, Sushil.
You
So
mean medicine, right?
yeah, he means medicine. He means getting a new set of doctors and good set of physios and getting things right. But I think all he's thinking about is Leicester right now because, to be honest, he has got to now play in the way where he tries to defend himself against his opponent's strengths and try to attack his opponent's weakness rather than just thinking about Liverpool's strengths and going from there.
All right, boys, just a final bit from all of you. I need a prediction. I will not implore you for a scoreline. Just give me the result.
Leicester
Leicester.
win.
Vijay.
Draw.
I feel bad for Sushil. I'll say Liverpool Leicester draw.
I'm going for
Draw.
draw as well. Yeah.
They haven't. This is at home, so they haven't lost in 64 games. It is Leicester, but I think it'll still be uphill for them.
Oh, Sulak.
This could backfire, but yeah, I'll put it out there.
I think it will be a high scoring draw.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
so too.
But
One can only
Kushagra, one
hope.
thing to remember, there is a fairy tale story which is almost on the writing. Brendan Rodgers, a former Liverpool manager, coming to Anfield and breaking Liverpool's streak of winning. Nothing can be better.
Really,
Let's see. Let's
no,
see.
I can think of plenty. Anyway, the Man United games left. Let's talk then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see which side of the coin Liverpool are on Sunday. Is it, Sushil?
Yep.
Sunday.
Yeah, Monday morning, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move on from the Liverpool Leicester game to the other big match of the weekend. That is Spurs versus City, and who better to ask about Spurs than one of their biggest antagonists and one of the biggest haters that is there is Sulaksh. Sulaksh, you must be loving this Jose Mourinho revival, right? Gareth Bale's getting assists on international duty, and Tottenham players in general are doing well. Harry Kane scoring again, and you have Heung-min Son. Now they take on a Man City side, which has not really been very, very convincing. How do you see this match going?
Well, Tottenham aren't really a factor for me when I am really worried about them. They're a good side, but they've not done anything.
Yeah, because they play at a higher league than you right now.
No, I won't say that. I mean, if you see the games closely, they've been scraping by, apart from the thrashing that they gave you all. I don't think you've forgotten that. They've been playing very, very average football, and they've been relying on a couple of good moments from their experienced players, especially Kane and Son, to get them out of jail, which is a good quality, I would say. And that's something that's changed under Mourinho. I think you can say with Pochettino, it was more of the style of football and the energy. With Mourinho, it's about getting it done. I don't care what the media says. I've seen it all. I get my 3 points first, and then I'll care about everyone else. So Tottenham have been doing that in a good sense. But what I'm worried about is for Tottenham side, if I was Tottenham fan, what I'd be worried about is Manchester City, because we've not really seen them this season at all. And if they do have a game, they will have a game. And De Bruyne and people I think they've had poor performances.
But they won the international window, just so
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
Every City player seemed to score.
Every City player, Ruben Dias scored a
Yeah.
Brace.
Brace,
Ferran
yeah.
Torres scored a hat trick, and De Bruyne scored and assisted, and they've had a good.
Foden scored too.
Foden scored two for England. So
Not like the last time.
No. Kushagra,
he
it's
scored
not
the-
Phil Foden. He is Manchester United player Mason Greenwood's friend. Let's be very clear.
Oh man, come on, drop it.
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting a bit stretched. I think we can go to that. We will talk about that in the pod, I think, over the coming weeks, Pratmesh. Because, there is a lot of shit there. But, yeah, so let's carry on.
So basically, I think it's more on Manchester City this game. I think the onus is on Manchester City to actually show us that they're here this season as well, and it's not something that is going to fade away, the dominance that we've seen. So Tottenham really need to just sit back and see what City throw at them, and I think it's gonna be one of those not so interesting games because it'll either be a dominating performance by City or it'll be your Jose Mourinho type of performance where he'll try to scrape maybe a win or a draw if things go south in the first half.
No, right, Vishwaraj, we've seen Man City, and they've been very ponderous in possession. They've been the sideways City, as perhaps Pep was criticized in his first season. It seems like they do not have, even though they do have a lot of the players that have been with them for the last 2 seasons, they do not have that penetration that Man City have been known for. And in a lot of games, you see them just you've seen them over the season. You just keep seeing them going from one wing to the other wing to the other wing to the other wing, and eventually the chance drops to someone like Raheem Sterling, and we've seen him miss way more than he's actually converted this season.
Yeah, I mean, basically, there are two tactics of Pep Guardiola which have been, I won't say found out, but I'll just say that they have been used so much that people now know what to expect from Liverpool, from Manchester City. And the first thing is, they have their attacking players, Bernardo Silva or Sterling, run to the byline and then cross it inside towards the penalty spot. That's one trick that they usually do, and teams have now wised up to this. Secondly, what they do is when they know that on the defense, in the transition phase, they try to do a lot of tactical fouls
Yeah.
and the referees have gone up to it. So now they are very cautious about being very overzealous with their possession. So they know that if they do lose the ball, they just cannot go about recklessly hacking people down because the referees are now wise to it, and now the other managers are pointing it out. So when you know that your two major tactics of playing football are under question or under scrutiny right now, you need to see what Pep Guardiola does to sort those out. And one of the biggest thing was the loss of David Silva. And
Yeah.
yes, Phil Foden has showed that he can be the replacement in good enough quality, but Phil Foden is young, and young players do tend to have up and down performances until they reach an age of 24, 25. So yeah, Phil Foden cannot be played every match, and anyway, Pep likes to do a lot of rotations anyway. So just want to see.
All right. There's some very interesting points there, Vijay, because the fact that he mentions that his two primary tactics have perhaps been found out, I just keep harking back to our conversations at the start of the season, if you remember. We spoke about Pep as this two-tonal manager, isn't it? We spoke about him, struggling when it comes to his favorite tactics not working. So, is it some sort of a vindication there on those lines? Do you see City being able to overcome this and actually using their own squad's momentum with so many of them having such a good international play?
Yeah, I actually do, but I just want to bring out the caveat that this is the first time I'm hearing a Pep Guardiola versus Jose game not talked about that way. Like, wow, congratulations! We've been talking about City versus Manchester
It says
Spurs.
more about Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah, and it says more about the managers that they've kind of identities going through the team. So yeah, good. But yeah, so with regards to City, and I think both City and Tottenham have like the fewest goals conceded in the Premier League, their
Yes.
defense wise, right? So that's interesting to see who I like. Sulak said, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game unless City can find out. And from what Viswaraj said, it's like it's the onus is on Pep. He's been found out. Can he through that? So I don't know. I think it takes time for a Pep Guardiola side to integrate new people and bring out the best in them. And I think today, or I think recently, he's just signed an extension till 2023. So
Yes.
there's a lot of buoyancy working for them. All the international games, plus the new manager giving long-term vision to the club. I think the City have positivity, but if there is one guy to destroy positivity, it's Jose Mourinho. So yeah,
And the
it will
one
be
one
interesting.
important thing that I'm keen on looking is how Pep Guardiola deals with Harry Kane, the trequartista. Harry Kane falling deep and then supplying long range passes to Son or Mora, or who's the other winger, Bale might be playing.
Yeah, it probably
So
will be
that's,
Bale.
yeah, it has to be Bale because one, that if City are going to push up, you need to have Kane's passing and Son's pace to attack the space behind them.
Yeah. Sushil, so Kane the Treckerista, who would have thought we would actually ever be hearing these words? And
And
Vishwaraj is not far off. He is. He is. He's fantastic. I think we need to cover Kane and Son a little here.
Yeah, and we praised them in one of the earlier podcasts too. We said they're the best duo in the Premier League, possibly the world, depending on who you're stacking them up against. And to be fair, Spurs have been in really good form. They're on a 7-match unbeaten run. They've beaten City 4 times in a row. And a lot of people tend to ignore Tottenham when it comes into again up when they're up against City. Sorry, but they've actually performed really well against them. You remember the Champions League games or even the games last season. They've been outstanding. So I think Son and Kane will be the key, right? Like we said, after those two guys, there's a huge drop off in the attacking output of the Spurs side. So, assuming they come back fit and raring to go from the international break. Not everyone has that luxury. Um, Assuming that's the case and they have enough left in the tank, I think they'll be the keys for this game. Particularly Son, I think, will be interesting. And now City's defense looks a little better than it did earlier in the season. And I think this is going to be their first proper test in a while. So since Ruben Diaz joined. So I'm hoping that a Tottenham are on form so that they can really challenge that City defense, and B that this game doesn't turn into what Silas predicted, that boring sort of let's say 0-0 draw or something like that. I hope that's not the case.
Pratmesh, but your favorite man would obviously love a boring match, isn't it?
Oh, well, definitely. I am myself looking forward to a boring match. Who wants interesting football? I want to see Jose Mourinho
That should be
using.
the clip. That should be the clip for Manchester United, I think.
Yeah, I actually want to see Højbjerg doing a man marking job on Kevin De Bruyne. I want to see how Son and Kane and Bale are able to, work those spaces in behind the defense. I really want to see, even for that matter, Reguilon do a good job on the City wingers.
Yeah.
And along with, I think they will have Aurier. I think Aurier is defensively a little vulnerable. He is, as Jose Mourinho said in his documentary,
Doherty's out,
he's
right?
very, he's very,
Yeah.
he's very prone to giving out cheap penalties. Cheap is a very nice word that I used. So that's one issue for Tottenham. But I am genuinely looking forward to a boring match like what we had last season, where Bergwijn scored his first Spurs goal. So that was a good game. That was a really memorable game. And even this one could be a boring one. But talking about Harry Kane, right? 7 goals, 8 assists in 8 matches. He has scored. He has created 8 more big chances for his players. He has been an absolute mammoth of a player. People talk about him creating chances, he's scoring goals as well. And Jose Mourinho promised in his press conferences before that Harry Kane will be the real deal under me. I think that is pretty much being seen right now. Obviously, the style of football helps Kane because he's able to drop deep and he's able to find those players in behind those spaces. And because Kane is good with his hold-up play, is good with his vision even behind what is happening, so that particularly helps. And a Gareth Bale number 9 scoring against Man City wouldn't be so bad either.
Yeah. Uh, quick predictions, boys. Once again, the result.
Well, I feel there are certain chunks in City's armor which fall right into Spurs' hands. Spurs for me.
Sushil.
Yeah.
I think it'll be 0-0 because I think both managers will be a little skeptical about going all out in this game immediately after the international break. A, because you're prone to injuries, and B, because, like I said, energy levels will be low. And this is one of those games where even if you put in 100%, it's not certain that you'll get anything out of it. So this
Yeah.
might be one of those games where they're just like, let's just play this out.
Draw for you as well, Pratnesh?
I'm going for 2-1 Tottenham.
Sula?
I generally don't feel
Sorry.
they are going to. I generally don't feel that Tottenham will keep a clean sheet because City's forward going. I think prowess will show, but then Tottenham are
And
very poor in
Jesus has
transition.
been,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sulak?
I think it'll be a draw. It'll be both teams playing cautiously and probably City taking the lead and then Tottenham pegging them back in the second half.
Vijay?
2-1 to City because
Oh.
somebody's got to love them.
That's an interesting one. I actually is actually going to go for City because just have this nagging feeling that De Bruyne is going to finally actually turn up.
Yeah.
So it's probably a similar result for you as well, Vijay. It's 2-1 for City here as well. So we move on then. So we come to Leeds versus Arsenal. Arsenal were not coming off a good result, but perhaps were coming off a decent upturn in form. And I'd probably like to ask Sulaksh this, because after that Aubameyang penalty at Old Trafford, there was a lot of positive vibes from amongst the Arsenal fans. Troops left to America as a hero, and as soon as he landed, so did Arsenal. What happened in that Villa match, and how are you seeing this Leeds fixture? Okay. Carrying on with Sushil's theme, can Mikel Arteta out-tactic Marcelo Bielsa?
I think Mikel Arteta has kind of been out-tacticking himself over the past 2-3 game weeks, because we've seen a lot of obvious tricks that he's missed. Obviously, he's been not playing Aubameyang down the middle, and he's been persisting with players who've not been good or not been producing, but who've been giving him the work rate. And I think that's the brand of football that he wants to continue, where he appreciates people putting in the shift more than maybe them having the ability to turn games. And this is where we need to improve. Leeds, the game's gonna. We all know what the game's gonna be. There's gonna be no surprises. Leeds are gonna come at us, and I'm sure how vulnerable Arsenal get when they are going through a bad time. Bielsa would have sat down, seen recordings of the Villa game, and he'd probably have told his players, we can do the same. It's basically what we do. In fact, Aston Villa kind of played differently from their usual style of play.
Yeah, I was quite surprised.
Given so much space, I mean, even they were surprised. At moments you saw Barkley and Grealish just standing there for 10 seconds with the ball at their feet, because they were like, oh, how do we have so much space? So it's something that Arteta has to fix. He has to figure out whether if we're playing with that three at the back with the wing back system, then we need to have better personnel there. And if we're not playing that system, then we need to go to that four at the back. And that's something that's going to be important for us to see, and for Aubameyang to play in the middle, and for Pepe to start, because these are some obvious tricks that he's not doing. And I think even if it doesn't work, he needs to do it to shut the fans and shut the media up, so that he can do that. And if Pepe doesn't perform, at least then he has his in to playing the team he wants to play. But as of now, he's kind of initially he was doing everything right. He was saying the right things. He was doing, all the fans were liking how he was making his meetings, getting rid of Guendouzi because of the attitude and everything. Now it kind of feels like he's doing everything the opposite of what people actually want or expect to see.
Yeah, and do you think Arsenal will get the win?
I think it will be a tough match. I can't really say about a clean sheet, but I think we need to bounce back and we'll get a 2-1 win. And hoping for an Aubameyang goal, and hoping for no funny business from Bamford and company.
Yeah, and talk about funny business, Pratnesh. There isn't any funnier business in the Premier League apart from Manchester United and their fortunes. So the club got like a last minute CPR injection, against Everton. But how do you see the match against West Brom panning out? It's another of those teams United do struggle against. We know West Brom are going to come and sit back. Do you think Solskjaer gets this?
West Brom had a good recent record, Old Trafford also, to add to all that misery. They beat us on the day when we were supposed to stop City from winning the title. That was a recent one, I remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there has been a lot of confusion along the lines with Alex Telles as well. Whether he's contacted COVID-19 again and stuff like that. The club have accepted that. The club have denied that. They've done a lot of things over the last 2 days. But apart from that, there are no significant injury issues. Like Luke Shaw, we know is definitely going to be out. But the likes of Martial, Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Rashford are all set to return according to the latest news. So let's pray for that. And if that's the case, then I think we have a pretty decent team to put West Brom away. But taking nothing away from Slaven Bilic, I think he's one of those managers who knows how to go away to a big ground and produce a result. I think Chelsea fans here, Vishwaraj and Vijay would pretty much acknowledge that fact. And Old Trafford for us has been nothing less than a misery. this season. Theatre of Dreams somehow turned into Theatre of Nightmares for the last few months, especially. So, little optimistic as always. As always at the start of every season since 2013, but a little lesser optimism. But there is one diamond amongst all this Woodstock that we have. That is Bruno Fernandes, and he has an ability to change games within a matter of a minute. That's what he does. His crosses go into the goal. He doesn't need penalties anymore. So that all of that misery is going out in a way. Even if he gets a penalty, I don't mind if he scores that. So
Yeah.
that's one player I'm really looking forward to. Otherwise, this whole team just forgets how to play football, especially when a team is sitting back. And I hope that United get a win, but I won't be too shocked if West Brom come away with a point.
All right. I suppose you can't really be that positive either, given the recent results that the club has had. Talking about results and the fact that we have two Chelsea fans on the panel, it's impossible for us not to talk about Chelsea. You guys are up against Newcastle this weekend. I'll start with the guest first, Vishwaraj. Just your take on how Chelsea's season has been, and how do you see Lampard? I'll come to Vijay because we have priors there. A little bit afterwards. But how do you see Lampard having evolved this team? Because amongst the traditional top 4 or top 6, as you would like to call them, I think Chelsea are on the best kind of a run as compared to any of the other clubs. Vishwaraj, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to correct one thing that happened. It's Chelsea who actually won the international break. When Mateo Kovacic scores 2 in one match, you need to accept that Chelsea have won the international break. And secondly speaking,
his second goal was a fantastic hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has that in him. It's so surprised that he doesn't score more, actually speaking. And yes, I've been very impressed with how Lampard has been doing this season, because everyone at the start of the season was like, the squad is too good for Lampard to manage. Lampard is too inexperienced, X, Y, and Z. But one thing the Chelsea fans know about Frank Lampard is that, when you have a challenge in front of Frank Lampard normally 9 out of 10 times mounts that challenge. And I've been seeing a lot of improvements, but then the one thing that it feels is it's a shallow improvement, that there is not such much concrete stuff below that. That I'm still very anxious about next match, because it's Newcastle in November. It's a bogey team, a bogey ground. And plus, despite all the defensive solidity, everything, there's a feeling that it's on a weak pedestal, and we need to see how it develops more. But to be fair, I'm happy with Lampard's honesty and his performances, though there is a lot of scope of improvement for him.
It's ironic how Kushagra, since day one, Lampard has used Mason Mount to mount over the challenges that he has come through.
Oh, Mount, the word Mount.
I was going to say the same thing.
I used that for a reason. I used that purposely.
It's like everyone forgot what that could mean. Okay.
Yeah,
Vishwaraj brought up the bogey team in November. I still remember Pepe Cisse and Demba Ba, that game, that goal. Yeah, if that can happen in that time, then yeah, anything can. And I think Vishwaraj also brought up the lovely point that we are still anxious. You did mention, Kushaga, that we've had a very good run of the big 4, but like I said, so 3 players are out for sure. Silva is out, Pulisic is out, and Havertz are out.
Vijay, what's this about Silva having headaches?
That's crazy.
I don't know. That sounds like a question for his wife or Liverpool's physician. I don't know.
not Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva mentioned that
he's coming late, I think.
Sorry?
He's coming late from the international break, I think, compared to the rest of the squad. I think that's why he's out.
No, actually,
and he's like super old, 36, dude. Yeah.
Thiago Silva accepted the fact that since the first 2 matches, a couple of matches in the Premier League, he used to have constant headaches for the past for the next 2 days, and that's not a good sign, because that's a sign of concussion. And he and everybody around the team points out that is due to the higher aerial ability or aerial games that are in the Premier League. So that's what he accepted. So this
Welcome,
is
big boy. Welcome to the Premier League.
Okay, whoa, that's crazy.
God, I hate welcome to the Premier League. But anyway.
It is exactly that. Yeah, Vijay.
I bet
carry on.
Silva agrees with you, Sushil. But yeah, yeah. So simply put, so a Chelsea defense with Silva has been able to be the fifth best in the league. Without him, we have to see if Mendy and Chilwell's additions would still have that quality retention that we're hoping for. In terms of attack, yes, Kovac has had a great international break, and if Havertz is giving space in the squad, then I'd like to see him there. Um, well, in terms of attack, we're having a problem with losing our backup, which is technically not a very huge problem. Giroud really wants out in January. It's been all over the news. And I would hate to see that option go because he's somewhere. Let's say if we have a striker in Werner and we have a striker in Giroud, and Tammy's somewhere in between those two people. And if we lose Giroud, I don't know the quality of Tammy Abraham or Timo Werner. Timo Werner for sure, but then I don't know if in the future run of games and injury crises that clubs are susceptible to now, that losing Giroud is going to be a big problem for us. And let's see if Lampard plays him, saying that, this is the
Yeah.
time where last season as well, Lampard did appease Giroud enough to, keep him on. So I'd like to see Giroud in Newcastle game, but I also don't want to see us lose momentum.
So Shuraj, do you think you guys carry on the winning streak there?
Yeah,
mean,
I do.
the winning
It's
streak
not a
of the
winning streak
season.
now, so yeah. Yeah, I think we'll make it, but I think it'll be one of those where your jaws are clenched.
Ha, the way.
I believe it's the other thing that's clenched, but okay.
Yes.
I use the word jaws purposely. There are certain-
Vijay, would you be clenching anything?
Um, it it depends who's next to me, but yeah, no. What I meant is,
Yeah, got what you meant.
so Newcastle has not kept clean sheet at home, so I think
Yeah, they haven't. Yeah.
there's going to be a goal. So for sure, I think we can do it. Given
Man,
our
Van Bissaka scored against them. That's like the worst thing that could happen in the Premier League.
All right. So there we have it. Guys. Those are our previews for the big matches of the weekend. A very big thanks once again to Vishwaraj for joining us. We hope to see you again on the channel soon. And to the rest of you guys, well, you were here, I was here. We do this every week. See you next week. And thank you so much for watching. Please do tell us what your predictions are for the weekend in the comments below. Do like, share, and subscribe, and see you soon.